Before you love anyone else, you have to know how to love yourself. Think about that for a moment. How often do you give your best to everyone around you, but forget to give that same care to yourself? Most people wake up each day chasing approval, hiding their doubts, and pretending to be fine while feeling disconnected inside. Deep down, they want to feel confident, calm, and proud of who they are, but they don't know where to start. This video is for you if you've ever felt tired of not feeling enough. It's for you if you want to stop depending on others to feel worthy and start building confidence that comes from within. In this session, you'll learn real, simple ways to practice self-love, rebuild trust with yourself, and walk through life with quiet strength. Stay with me till the end, because after today, you'll see yourself differently. Chapter 1. Accept yourself fully and stop comparing your life. You know, one of the hardest things a person will ever learn in this life is how to accept themselves fully. Not just the good parts that everyone praises, but the parts that make them feel uncertain, insecure, or behind. When people struggle with confidence, it's often not because they lack ability. It's because they've spent too much time comparing their life to someone else's highlight reel. They see others running fast, so they assume they're running slow. But self-love doesn't grow in comparison, it grows in acceptance. When you truly accept yourself, you stop fighting the person in the mirror. You stop treating your own story like it's not enough. That's the beginning of peace, and peace is the foundation of confidence. Because confidence isn't about being better than someone else, it's about feeling comfortable being yourself. It's about saying, I'm not perfect, but I'm learning, growing, and that's enough for today. Most people go through life wearing invisible masks. They hide their doubts behind smiles, and they chase approval hoping someone else will tell them they're worthy. But the truth is, no one can give you what you refuse to give yourself. Self-acceptance begins when you stop waiting for others to validate your worth. It starts when you look at yourself and say, I'm a work in progress, and that's okay. The first step is honesty. You can't accept what you keep denying. If there are parts of you you've tried to bury, the mistakes, the regrets, the fears, it's time to bring them to the surface. Look at them with compassion, not judgment. Every flaw carries a story. Every weakness has a reason. The goal is not to erase your past, but to understand it and grow from it. The truth is, comparison kills growth. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you drain your own motivation. You begin to feel small, even when you're doing something great. You might see someone who's younger, richer, fitter, or more accomplished, and you start believing you're behind. But behind what? Behind who? Life isn't a race, it's a personal journey. Everyone has different timing, different lessons, and different challenges. I've seen people spend their entire lives measuring themselves by someone else's progress. They never feel enough because they're using the wrong ruler. Real confidence is built when you stop asking, am I doing better than them? And start asking, am I doing better than I did yesterday? You have to remember this. Comparison steals clarity. When your eyes are always on others, you lose sight of your own path. And when you lose sight of your path, you lose your purpose. That's why acceptance isn't a passive act, it's a decision. It's saying, I will focus on my growth. I will honor my pace. I will be proud of my effort even when no one notices. The mind loves to compare because it's looking for control. It wants to categorize, label, and rank, but the heart just wants peace. And peace only comes when you stop fighting yourself. When you accept who you are right now, you open space for change. You can't grow from a place of hate, you grow from understanding. Self-love isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. It's built in small moments, when you forgive yourself for a mistake, when you take care of your body, when you rest instead of overworking, when you speak kindly to yourself after a bad day. These moments build your emotional foundation. Over time, they teach you that you're worthy not because you've achieved something spectacular, but because you exist. You see, people often confuse self-love with arrogance or selfishness, but self-love is the opposite. It's humility. It's understanding that you are not perfect, and yet you are valuable. It's realizing that your worth doesn't increase when people praise you and doesn't decrease when they criticize you. It's knowing who you are when the world is silent. To accept yourself fully, you need to see yourself clearly. That means being honest about your strengths and weaknesses without judgment. You might not have everything you want yet, but that doesn't make you less. Maybe you're still figuring things out, still learning, still healing. That's okay. That's what growth looks like. You're not supposed to have it all together. Nobody does. The danger of comparison is that it distorts reality. You see someone's success, but you don't see their struggle. You see their confidence, but not the nights they doubted themselves. You see the smile, but not the pain behind it. So, when you compare, you're not comparing truth to truth. You're comparing your inside to someone else's outside. That's a game you can never win. So, what's the solution? Awareness. Awareness is the turning point. Every time you catch yourself comparing, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, what do I gain from this thought? If it doesn't bring peace, it's not worth keeping. Then redirect that energy into something that moves you forward. Work on your goals, care for your health, invest in your growth. That's where confidence grows from progress, not perfection. If you want to build self-love, start by noticing the way you talk to yourself. Most people would never speak to a friend the way they speak to themselves. They say things like, "I'm not good enough," "I'm too late," or "I'll never make it." And every time they say it, they weaken their confidence. The mind believes what it hears repeatedly. So feed it truth, not doubt. Tell yourself, "I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing my best." Over time, your brain will start believing it. You'll start feeling lighter, calmer, and more capable. That's how psychology works. You train your mind through repetition. It's not magic, it's discipline. Another key part of acceptance is gratitude. When you appreciate what you already have, you stop fixating on what's missing. Gratitude doesn't mean settling, it means acknowledging the good that's already here. When you do that, you start seeing your own life as enough. You stop wishing to be someone else. And from that place of contentment, real growth begins. Think about it. If you never appreciate who you are now, even success won't satisfy you. You'll always chase the next thing. But if you build gratitude into your life today, everything you gain tomorrow will feel like a bonus, not a necessity. Confidence isn't loud. It's not about showing off or proving something. True confidence is quiet. It's calm. It's the kind of peace that says, "I know who I am, and I'm okay with that." That's the reward of self-acceptance. You stop needing to compete, and you start feeling complete. Every human being has a unique story. No one has lived your exact life, faced your exact challenges, or learned your exact lessons. That makes you one of a kind. So, why would you waste energy trying to be a copy? You were never meant to fit someone else's path. You were meant to walk your own with courage and faith. Accepting yourself doesn't mean you stop improving. It means you improve from a place of love, not shame. It means you push yourself because you deserve better, not because you think you're worthless. That small shift changes everything. When you accept yourself, effort becomes empowering instead of exhausting. If you're struggling with comparison, here's something powerful to remember. Everyone's timeline is different. Some people find their purpose at 20, others at 40. Some heal fast, others take time. None of them are wrong. What matters is that you keep moving. You keep showing up for yourself. Start each day by reminding yourself that you're enough right now. You may not be where you want to be, but you're closer than you were yesterday. That's progress, and progress deserves respect. Spend time alone. Learn to enjoy your own company. When you can sit with yourself without feeling restless, you've found real strength. Because then your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else, it comes from within, and that's the kind of confidence that lasts. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So, take time to understand your emotions. If you feel jealous, ask yourself why. If you feel inadequate, ask what belief is fueling it. Most of our self-doubt comes from old experiences, moments when we were told we weren't enough. But those moments don't define you. You define you. Every day, you have the chance to create a new pattern, a new story. Self-love isn't about ignoring your flaws, it's about accepting them while working to grow. You can say, "I'm still learning how to be better," and still love yourself today. You don't have to earn your worth, it's already there. When you stop comparing, you start connecting with yourself, with others, with life. You stop trying to prove something, and you start being something. That's when confidence begins to feel natural. You walk differently, speak differently, and think differently, because you're no longer pretending, you're being. Remember this, you are not behind, you are not less. You are exactly where you need to be to take your next step. You have value even when you're quiet, even when you're uncertain, even when you're healing. Confidence doesn't mean you have all the answers, it means you trust yourself to find them. Accept yourself fully. No conditions, no comparisons, no apologies. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your truth, your story, your presence. When you start showing up as your real self, life starts opening doors you never saw before, because the world always responds to authenticity. So, stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Focus on your own page. Keep writing your story with honesty, patience, and faith. Because when you finally accept yourself, you'll realize you were always enough. You just needed to believe it. Chapter 2. Speak positive words that build your inner strength. The words you speak to yourself shape the person you become. Every single day, your mind listens to what you say, and it builds a story around those words. If the story is filled with doubt, fear, or criticism, your life starts to reflect that. But when you speak words that empower you, when you build yourself with language that uplifts instead of destroys, everything changes. Because the voice you hear the most is your own, and that voice has the power to break you or make you unstoppable. People often underestimate how deeply self-talk affects confidence. They assume confidence comes from achievements or compliments. It doesn't. It begins in the quiet moments when no one's watching, when it's just you and your thoughts. That's when the real battle happens. If you keep telling yourself that you can't, that you're not enough, that you'll fail again, your mind will start believing it. And when your mind believes it, your behavior follows. You stop trying, you stop growing, and you start shrinking into the background of your own life. To build inner strength, you must learn to speak to yourself like someone worth listening to. You can't build a strong mind on weak words. You can't expect courage to rise when your inner voice keeps tearing you down. You have to replace those negative loops with truth. And truth sounds different. It's calm, honest, and supportive. It doesn't ignore your flaws. It simply reminds you that flaws don't define you. It says, "I can handle this," even when life feels heavy. It says, "I'm growing," even when progress feels slow. The brain is wired to believe repetition. It doesn't care whether the words are positive or negative. It simply absorbs what it hears most often. So if you tell yourself you're useless, your brain will find evidence to support that belief. If you tell yourself you're capable, it will start searching for proof of that instead. That's how the mind works. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about training your focus. Because what you focus on expands. Start paying attention to the words that come out of your mouth and the thoughts that run through your head. Many people speak negatively about themselves without realizing it. They say things like, "I'm terrible at this," or "I'll never change," or "I'm such a failure." Those words sound small, but they plant deep roots. Over time, they become your inner truth. And if you repeat them long enough, they start shaping your identity. Inner strength begins when you catch those thoughts and change the script. Instead of "I'm terrible at this," try "I'm still learning this." Instead of "I'll never change," try "I'm working on becoming better." Instead of "I'm a failure," say "I made a mistake, but I can grow from it." That small shift may sound simple, but it changes everything. It moves you from helplessness to control. And control is where confidence is born. Words are energy. When you speak, you release that energy into your environment and into your body. Studies in psychology have shown that positive affirmations can rewire the brain by activating regions associated with self-worth and decision-making. It's not just feel-good talk, it's neuroscience. Your language literally influences your brain's wiring. That means you have the power to change how you feel about yourself by changing how you speak to yourself. But this doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means learning to be encouraging even in imperfection. If you fall short, instead of beating yourself up, talk to yourself the way a good coach would. A good coach doesn't say, "You're hopeless." A good coach says, "That didn't work, but you've got another chance." That kind of mindset helps you grow instead of quit. It builds resilience, and resilience is the backbone of confidence. Some people believe that self-talk doesn't matter because life is based on action, but every action begins with a thought, and every thought is shaped by language. You can't take strong action when your inner voice is weak. You can't move forward when you're constantly telling yourself you're not ready. So before you take action, strengthen your language. Feed your mind with words that prepare you to win. Here's the thing about confidence: it doesn't come from pretending to be fearless. It comes from reminding yourself that you can handle fear, and you do that through your words. When you say, "I can face this," your mind starts calming down. When you say, "I've done hard things before," you activate your memory of strength. That's how you build trust in yourself, by talking to yourself as someone capable, not broken. There will be days when your inner critic gets loud. That voice might remind you of past failures, past mistakes, and all the reasons you're not good enough. In those moments, you have to speak louder than that voice, not with anger, but with truth. Say to yourself, "That was then, this is now." Say, "I'm still learning, and I'm proud of that." Speak like a friend who wants you to succeed. Your language becomes your emotional climate. If you fill your mind with negativity, you'll live in a storm. But if you fill it with words of patience, gratitude, and strength, you'll create peace. And peace doesn't mean your life will be easy. It means your mind will be steady. That's what gives you power in difficult times. Building inner strength through language also means setting a new standard for how you talk about your life. Stop saying, "I'm stuck." Instead say, "I'm figuring things out." Stop saying, "I can't take this anymore." Say, "This is hard, but I'll find a way." The more you do this, the more your mind starts seeing possibilities instead of problems. That's the power of positive speech. It changes what your eyes notice and what your brain believes. There's another truth here. Your self-talk doesn't just affect you. It affects how others see you. When you speak with belief in yourself, people feel it. You carry a different energy. You become someone who inspires confidence in others because you've built it within yourself first. You don't need to prove your worth. You radiate it naturally. To develop this kind of speech, you have to be intentional. It won't happen automatically. You've spent years building habits of thought, and habits don't disappear overnight. So start small. Each morning, say one positive thing about yourself. It could be, I'm capable of handling today. I'm worthy of respect. I'm improving. These words are not about ego, they're about training your inner strength. Do it consistently, even when you don't believe it yet. The belief will come. Also, learn to celebrate your progress with words. When you achieve something, no matter how small, acknowledge it. Say, I did well today. When you overcome a challenge, say, I'm proud of how I handled that. Recognition fuels confidence. Most people wait for others to validate them, but the most reliable validation comes from within. When you learn to praise yourself honestly, your mind begins to rely on your voice for motivation. Avoid harsh labels. Stop calling yourself lazy, stupid, or weak. The mind doesn't know those are jokes, it believes them. If you must correct yourself, do it with respect. Say, I didn't give my best effort today, but I will tomorrow. That's maturity. That's growth. And remember, positive words don't mean blind optimism. You're not pretending everything's great. You're acknowledging that you have the power to make it better. That's real confidence, knowing that even if things go wrong, you'll still find a way to rise. There's also a psychological effect that happens when you speak positively. Your body responds, your heart rate steadies, your breathing slows, your muscles relax. The mind and body are connected, and your language bridges them. When your words are calm and encouraging, your nervous system feels safe. That safety allows creativity, focus, and courage to grow. You'll start noticing that positive speech changes your entire mood. You'll wake up with a lighter attitude, face challenges with more composure, and recover faster from setbacks. You'll stop overreacting to small problems because your inner foundation will be stronger. That's what we mean by inner strength. It's not about never falling. It's about knowing you can get back up. If you grew up around negative talk, if you heard people constantly saying you can't, you won't, or you're not good enough, it might take time to rebuild your voice, but you can. You can become the person who breaks that pattern. Every time you speak differently, you're rewriting the script. You're teaching your future self a better story to live by. Be patient with yourself as you change your language. Old words will try to come back, especially when you're stressed or tired, but the key is awareness. Notice them, stop them, and replace them. Over time, the positive words will start to come naturally. You can even use writing as a tool. Write down words that empower you. Read them often. Post them where you can see them on your mirror, your desk, your phone background. The more you surround yourself with uplifting language, the easier it becomes to internalize it. The quality of your inner conversation determines the quality of your outer experience. If your inner world is filled with respect, belief, and patience, your outer world will start reflecting it. You'll find yourself handling people differently, facing rejection with calm, and seeing challenges as opportunities. Because you've built a solid foundation inside. Confidence built on positive words is real confidence. It doesn't crumble when life gets tough. It doesn't depend on applause or approval. It grows quietly, day by day, as you keep reinforcing your worth with your own words. So the next time you hear that inner critic trying to speak, pause, ask yourself, is this helping me grow? If not, change it. Replace it with something that does. Your words are the tools that build your mindset, and your mindset builds your life. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love deeply. Remind yourself that you're capable, that you're improving, and that you have what it takes. When you speak that way consistently, you'll feel a shift. You'll start walking differently, thinking differently, and showing up in life with quiet power. Self-love grows in that kind of environment. It's not loud or dramatic, it's consistent, strong, and peaceful. It's built every time you choose kind words over harsh ones, every time you say, "I can do this," and take one more step forward. Your words can build a wall that traps you, or a bridge that lifts you. Choose the ones that lift. Speak positive words that remind you of your strength, your worth, and your ability to rise. Because when your words change, your world changes with them.
Chapter 3. Do small actions daily that make you feel proud. Pride in yourself doesn't come from big victories. It comes from the small things you do each day that remind you that you're showing up for your own life. Too many people wait for a breakthrough moment to start feeling proud. But those moments are rare. What truly builds confidence and self-love are the consistent small actions that prove to you over and over again that you care enough to keep growing. The way you talk to yourself, the way you start your morning, the way you handle small challenges, these are the quiet acts that shape your character and strengthen your belief in who you are. When you wake up and choose to do something good for yourself, something simple but meaningful, you begin the day already winning. It might be making your bed, drinking water, exercising, journaling, or taking 5 minutes to breathe before the world pulls you in every direction. These small habits are not just tasks, they are statements. Each one says, "I value myself enough to try," and that simple truth builds the kind of pride that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. Inner confidence isn't built by what people see, it's built by what you do when no one's watching. Every small step matters because it tells your brain, "I can rely on me." The problem most people face is that they underestimate the power of consistency. They believe success or self-worth comes from massive actions or big life changes, but life doesn't transform in one big leap. It changes through hundreds of small, intentional steps. When you start focusing on those small actions, you stop feeling overwhelmed and start feeling capable. The truth is, self-pride isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's about doing the things that match the person you want to be. If you want to feel strong, do one thing today that strengthens you. If you want to feel calm, take 5 minutes to slow down and breathe. If you want to feel disciplined, follow through on one small promise to yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be honest. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you repair the trust that self-doubt once broke. Think about how many times people set big goals, make big promises, and then quit halfway because it feels too heavy. The reason is not lack of motivation, it's lack of focus on small wins. You can't climb a mountain in one jump, but you can take one step today and another tomorrow. Each small step, each moment of effort is an act of courage, and courage, practiced daily, becomes confidence. When you do something simple that aligns with your values, you create a small wave of momentum. That momentum carries into other parts of your life. You clean your room and suddenly you feel ready to focus on your work. You go for a walk and suddenly your mind feels clear. You finish reading a few pages of a book and suddenly you're proud you kept your word. These things may sound small, but your brain registers them as proof that you're capable, and proof is what builds belief. Small actions are powerful because they are achievable. They keep you grounded in the present while still moving you toward a better future. Big goals often feel too far away, which makes people procrastinate, but small actions give you immediate feedback. You do something, you feel good, you repeat it. That's how you create sustainable progress. The most important part is not the size of the action, but the intention behind it. For example, when you decide to eat healthy, it's not about the calories, it's about telling yourself, "I care about my body." When you decide to journal your thoughts, it's not about writing something perfect, it's about saying, "My feelings matter." When you take a walk, it's not about burning calories, it's about reminding yourself, I deserve peace. That's how small actions become emotional anchors. They make you feel valuable through effort, not perfection. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation to take action. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. What creates real change is discipline built through repetition. Each small action you take becomes a habit, and habits create identity. You can't wake up confident if you spend every day breaking promises to yourself. But when you do one small thing you said you would, you begin to see yourself as someone who follows through. That shift in identity is where confidence starts. Some days will be hard. You'll feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. Those are the days when small actions matter most. When you push yourself to do one meaningful thing, even when it's inconvenient, you train your mind to act based on purpose, not feelings. You might not feel proud every day, but if you keep showing up, you'll look back after a month or a year and realize how far you've come. The growth will be visible, not because of one big moment, but because of the daily choices that built it brick by brick. Every day gives you an opportunity to earn your own respect. When you do what you said you would, you build that respect naturally, and the more respect you have for yourself, the stronger your confidence becomes. You stop seeking validation because you already have proof within yourself that you are reliable, capable, and worthy of trust. Small daily actions also help quiet self-doubt. The more you act, the less time you spend overthinking. Overthinking thrives on inaction. But when you're busy building something, even small, your focus shifts from what if I fail to what's my next step. Progress, no matter how small, silences fear. It teaches your mind that you can handle discomfort and keep moving. The beauty of doing small things daily is that it simplifies the path to self-love. You don't have to chase impossible standards or live a perfect life. You just have to show up for yourself today. When you choose to do that again tomorrow and the next day, it becomes part of who you are. Pride isn't something you wait for, it's something you create through repetition. There's also something deeply human about finishing a small task and feeling that quiet satisfaction. It's a form of self-respect. When you finish what you start, even if it's small, you tell your mind that your time and effort have value. You reinforce the message that your choices matter, and when your brain starts connecting effort with satisfaction, you naturally crave more progress. That's how growth becomes sustainable. You don't have to wait until life is perfect to feel proud. You can start now, even if you're struggling, even if you're not where you want to be. In fact, that's when pride means the most. When it comes from persistence, not perfection. When you get up after failure and do one small thing right, that's real strength. When you take care of yourself on the days you feel defeated, that's real confidence. Many people overlook the emotional reward of consistency. Every time you take a small step forward, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical linked to motivation and satisfaction. That release makes you feel good, which motivates you to keep going. That's why even small wins matter. They literally train your brain to associate progress with pleasure. It's not just philosophy, it's biology. Another important part of this process is reflection. Take a few minutes at the end of the day to acknowledge what you did right. Maybe you sent that email you were avoiding. Maybe you drank more water. Maybe you stayed patient in a situation that usually frustrates you. Write it down. Celebrate it privately. This habit rewires your focus from what's missing to what's improving. Over time you start living with a mindset of gratitude instead of guilt. Remember, self-love is not about indulgence, it's about commitment. Doing small things daily that make you proud is a form of commitment to your well-being. It's saying, I'm not going to wait for life to change. I'll start creating small changes now. That mindset turns ordinary days into opportunities for growth. When you look at successful people, those who are calm, confident and fulfilled, you'll notice a pattern. They have routines. They have small daily disciplines that anchor their mindset. They don't rely on luck or inspiration. They rely on action. And every small action they take reinforces their belief in themselves. You can build the same foundation. You don't need to copy anyone's system. You just need to find what makes you feel proud and do it every day. It could be as simple as waking up on time, taking a short walk, reading something educational, or expressing gratitude. The specific action doesn't matter as much as the intention behind it. What matters is that you choose to act instead of waiting for change. When you make that choice daily, it becomes a pattern, and patterns form character. There's a quiet joy in knowing you're doing your best. Even when things don't go as planned, you can look back and say, I showed up. That kind of self-assurance builds emotional stability. You no longer need to compare yourself to others or chase external validation. You know your worth through action. Over time, these small actions compound. They build habits. Habits build momentum, and momentum builds confidence. It might not feel like much in the beginning, but give it time. A small daily improvement adds up to massive growth over months and years. And the best part is that you'll enjoy the journey, because you're not just chasing results. You're living in alignment with your values. Small actions also create emotional resilience. When life gets difficult, your habits become your anchor. You don't fall apart because you've trained yourself to take action, even when things are uncertain. You've proven to yourself that you can handle discomfort, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward. That's what real strength looks like. You deserve to feel proud of yourself every day, not just when you achieve something impressive. Pride doesn't come from external applause, it comes from internal progress. The question to ask yourself daily is simple. Did I do something today that made me respect myself more? If the answer is yes, then you are growing. That growth builds the kind of self-love that lasts. It's not about constant positivity, it's about constant participation in your own improvement. It's the quiet, steady belief that you are capable of shaping your life through action. Each small effort you make sends a message to your future self. I'm building you. I'm taking care of you. I believe in you. And that belief becomes power. Over time, you'll realize that those small actions, the ones that seemed ordinary, were actually the foundation of your transformation. They were the bricks that built your confidence. They were the steps that carried you from self-doubt to self-respect. So start today. Pick one small thing that makes you feel proud, and do it. Tomorrow, do it again. Keep stacking those wins, no matter how small, because one day, you'll look back and realize that the small things weren't small after all. They were everything.
Chapter 4. Trust your own voice and follow your true path. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize that no one else can truly tell them who they are meant to be. You can listen to advice, you can study examples, you can seek inspiration, but the answers that matter most are already inside you. Trusting your own voice is one of the most powerful things you can ever learn, yet it's also one of the hardest. From a young age, we are taught to look outside ourselves for direction. We're told what success should look like, what kind of life we should build, and who we should become. Over time, that outside noise becomes so loud that we forget what our own voice sounds like. Reclaiming it takes courage. It means slowing down, listening within, and deciding to follow your truth even when it goes against expectations. Most people don't struggle because they lack potential. They struggle because they doubt their own instincts. They second-guess what they feel and end up living lives that don't feel like their own. Every time you ignore your inner voice to please others, you weaken the connection between who you are and who you're becoming.
But when you begin to honor that inner voice, something changes. You stop chasing what's right for everyone else and start living what's right for you. Your inner voice is not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, calm, and steady. It speaks through your intuition, your emotions, and your sense of peace. When something feels right, your body relaxes. When something feels wrong, your body tightens. Most people feel those signals, but don't trust them. They override them with logic, fear, or other people's opinions. But those signals are your natural guidance system. They exist to keep you aligned with your purpose. Learning to trust them is like learning a new language, the language of your true self. You don't need to have all the answers before you take the first step. In fact, trusting your voice means moving forward even when things aren't clear. You build clarity through action, not by waiting for perfect certainty. Every time you follow your intuition, you strengthen it. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The reason so many people feel lost is not because they're on the wrong path, but because they've been walking someone else's. They've been trying to meet standards that were never meant for them. They compare, they imitate, and they end up disconnected from their own sense of direction. You can't find fulfillment living a script someone else wrote. Your life is meant to reflect your values, your passions, and your truth. When you start aligning your choices with that truth, life begins to feel lighter, more meaningful, and more alive. Trusting your own voice doesn't mean rejecting all advice or guidance. It means filtering it through your inner compass. Listen, learn, but decide for yourself what fits your life. The wisest people aren't those who follow rules blindly. They're the ones who take information, reflect deeply, and act in alignment with who they truly are. You must learn to be that kind of person, open-minded but self-directed. There's a certain peace that comes when you stop seeking permission to be yourself. You no longer wait for validation to make decisions or approval to take action. You begin to realize that confidence doesn't come from people agreeing with you. It comes from you agreeing with yourself. Every time you make a decision based on your truth, even if it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your integrity. That's what self-respect is built on. When you start trusting your inner voice, don't expect everyone to understand. Some people will question you, others might judge you. That's okay. They're not supposed to hear your calling. It wasn't given to them. You don't need to convince anyone to see your vision. Your job is to live it, not explain it. Over time, your results will speak for themselves. The world can be noisy. Social media, opinions, trends, they all compete for your attention. But when you live constantly reacting to everything around you, you stop hearing yourself. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. Make time to disconnect from distractions so you can reconnect with your mind. Spend time in solitude. Reflect, write, walk, breathe. It's in those moments that you hear the whispers of your real voice, the one that knows where you belong. Following your true path means choosing purpose over popularity. It's easy to follow what's convenient, but fulfillment comes from following what's right for you. Sometimes that means taking a road that few understand. You might walk alone for a while, but that's the price of authenticity, and it's worth paying. Because when you finally start living your truth, you attract peace, not pressure. You attract people who respect you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Your inner voice isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it will push you toward growth when you'd rather stay safe. It might tell you to leave a job, end a relationship, or start something new, and that can be scary. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Trusting yourself means having faith that you can handle what comes next. Even if things don't go perfectly, you'll learn, you'll adapt, you'll build the wisdom you need for the next step. Many people wait for certainty before they act, but certainty is built by acting. When you follow your instincts, even if you stumble, you build a deeper understanding of who you are. Mistakes don't weaken your inner voice, they strengthen it. Each experience gives it more truth, more substance. You start realizing that your intuition isn't just a feeling, it's your accumulated wisdom speaking to you. Sometimes trusting your own voice means saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. It means setting boundaries that protect your peace. It means walking away from situations that don't align with your values. That's not selfish, it's self-respect. Every no you say to what drains you becomes a yes to what builds you. You can't hear your truth clearly if you keep letting noise into your life. You'll also notice that when you start trusting yourself, fear begins to lose power. Fear doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. You start to see it for what it is, a sign that something matters to you. You no longer let it control your direction. You use it as fuel to move forward instead of an excuse to hold back. To strengthen your connection with your inner voice, pay attention to what brings you energy. Notice what excites you, what makes time disappear, what leaves you feeling fulfilled instead of drained. These feelings are clues pointing toward your true path. Too often, people ignore those signals because they seem impractical, but practicality without purpose leads to emptiness. There's nothing wise about spending your life ignoring what makes you feel alive. Building trust with yourself takes practice. You've spent years listening to others, so it will take time to hear yourself clearly again. Don't rush it. Start small. Make simple choices each day that reflect your preferences, your feelings, your truth. Over time, those choices accumulate into confidence. You start realizing that you don't need everyone's advice because you have a reliable guide within you. One of the greatest signs of maturity is the ability to stand alone when necessary. It means you've learned to value your voice even when others disagree. You can listen respectfully, but still make your own decision. That's what freedom feels like. You no longer depend on approval. You depend on your principles. The more you trust yourself, the clearer your path becomes. You stop chasing everything that looks appealing and start focusing on what feels right. You stop being pulled in every direction and start moving with purpose. The confusion begins to fade, replaced by clarity. That clarity isn't given to you, it's built through listening to your heart, acting on your values, and learning from your experiences. Every great life is built on alignment. When your thoughts, words, and actions point in the same direction, you feel balanced. That balance brings confidence. You don't have to force anything, because you're not pretending anymore. You're simply being who you are meant to be. When you ignore your inner voice, life starts to feel heavy. You might succeed by the world's standards, but inside something feels off. You wake up restless, unsure why you're not fulfilled. That's because no amount of external success can replace the peace that comes from living in truth. When your choices reflect your authentic self, even challenges feel meaningful. Learning to follow your own path doesn't mean everything will be easy. There will be uncertainty, judgment, and moments of doubt, but the satisfaction of living authentically is worth every challenge. You'll make mistakes, but they'll be your mistakes, lessons that belong to your journey, and that ownership gives life depth. You have to be willing to trust that life rewards honesty. It rewards the person who dares to live truthfully. When you stop trying to fit into places that weren't built for you, new doors open, doors that lead to peace, creativity, and fulfillment. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be perfect. It needs more people brave enough to be real. If you ever feel uncertain about your direction, ask yourself simple questions. Does this decision feel peaceful or forced? Does it reflect who I am or who I'm trying to impress? Would I still choose this if no one were watching? Those questions reconnect you with your inner compass. The answers may surprise you, but they will always lead you closer to authenticity. Over time, trusting your own voice becomes second nature. You stop overthinking every decision because you've built faith in your judgment. You stop fearing failure because you know it's part of the path. You stop comparing because you're too busy creating your own story. Your true path doesn't have to be grand or glamorous. It just has to be yours. It might lead you to a career, a lifestyle, or a purpose that's different from others. That's the beauty of it. When you live aligned with your truth, your life becomes a reflection of your real values, not society's checklist. And once you reach that place of trust, you'll notice something powerful. You begin to inspire others to do the same. When people see someone living with authenticity, it gives them permission to do it too. You become proof that it's possible to follow your heart and still build a meaningful life. So take a deep breath and start listening again. You don't need to look for your voice. It's been there all along, waiting for you to trust it. It might whisper at first, but the more you follow it, the louder it becomes. And one day, you'll realize that it has been guiding you toward your true path the whole time. No one can walk that path for you. No one else can define what success or happiness should mean in your story. The world will always have opinions, but you have the final say. Trust your own voice, follow where it leads, and let your truth become the foundation of your confidence. That's not just self-love, it's self-liberation.
Chapter 5. Let go of guilt and give yourself full forgiveness. Guilt is a heavy weight that lives quietly in the back of your mind. It doesn't shout, but it lingers. It colors how you see yourself and how you treat yourself. It whispers that you could have done better, that you should have known more, that you should have been stronger. And when you carry that voice long enough, it starts to shape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a person who made mistakes and start seeing yourself as the mistake itself. But that isn't the truth. Guilt can serve a purpose. It reminds you of your values, but once it's done its job, you must let it go. Holding on to guilt doesn't make you more responsible. It only makes you more stuck. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, isn't weakness, it's courage. It's the choice to stop punishing yourself for something that's already over. Most people can forgive others faster than they forgive themselves. They understand that others are human, but they expect perfection from themselves. That's not growth. That's cruelty. You can't build confidence while carrying shame. You can't love yourself fully while treating your past self as an enemy. To practice self-love, you must make peace with your past, not erase it, not deny it, but accept it as part of your human experience. The truth is, guilt is a sign that you care. You felt pain because you wanted to do right, because your heart was open. That means you're not broken, you're human. But the goal is to learn from that guilt, not to live in it. Learning turns pain into wisdom. Living in guilt turns pain into self-punishment. When you learn, you grow. When you punish, you freeze. And you deserve to move forward. Forgiving yourself begins with honesty. You can't heal what you refuse to face. So look at what happened, not with judgment, but with understanding. Maybe you hurt someone. Maybe you failed at something important. Maybe you stayed too long in a situation that drained you. Whatever it was, admit it to yourself fully. That honesty frees you. You can't change the past, but you can choose what meaning it holds. You can decide whether it defines you or refines you. Once you've faced it, take responsibility without self-hate. Responsibility is not the same as blame. Blame says I am bad. Responsibility says I did something I can learn from. That small difference changes everything. It shifts your mindset from punishment to progress. Every person who has ever grown has made mistakes, and the most successful people are not those who avoided failure. They're the ones who forgave themselves fast enough to keep learning. Guilt is sticky because it feeds on repetition. The more you replay your mistakes, the stronger the guilt grows. It becomes a loop that steals your energy and focus. But you can break that loop by consciously choosing a different thought. When your mind brings up that memory, don't argue with it, acknowledge it, and then redirect it. Say to yourself, yes, that happened. I've learned from it. It doesn't control me anymore. That statement reminds your mind that you're no longer the person who made that mistake. You're wiser now. You're growing. Self-forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering it without pain. It's when the lesson remains, but the shame fades.
You can remember a time you failed and still feel at peace because you know that failure helped you become who you are now. That's what emotional maturity looks like, transforming guilt into growth. If you keep guilt alive, it will make you believe you don't deserve good things. It will whisper that you're unworthy of happiness, or love, or success. But guilt is not the voice of truth, it's the voice of fear. The truth is, you deserve another chance. You deserve peace. You deserve to live freely without dragging old pain into every new moment. The mind has a strange way of holding on to pain as a form of control. It believes that if you keep feeling guilty, you'll somehow fix what happened. But guilt doesn't change the past. It only poisons the present. The real power is in understanding. Once you understand why you made that choice, why you reacted that way, you can release it. Understanding replaces judgment. When you understand yourself, you start feeling compassion instead of condemnation. You have to remind yourself that you were doing the best you could with what you knew then. Every person grows through stages, and sometimes you don't have the awareness you have now. That's part of being human. You can't judge your past self with the knowledge of your present self. The person you were didn't know what you know now. Forgiveness is recognizing that truth and letting it set you free. Another important part of letting go is separating guilt from regret. Regret says, I wish I had done better. Guilt says, I am not good. Regret can motivate change. Guilt paralyzes it. So keep the lesson. Release the label. You don't have to hold both the pain and the wisdom. Take the wisdom with you and leave the pain behind. There's also a physical side to guilt. It lives in your body as tension, fatigue, or anxiety. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. That's why forgiveness isn't just mental. It's emotional and physical. Sometimes you need to speak it out loud, write it down, cry it out, or simply breathe it through. Healing isn't always logical. It's human. Give yourself permission to feel the emotions, but don't stay trapped in them. Feel them, release them, move forward. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean pretending what happened was okay. It means acknowledging that you've learned enough from it to not repeat it. It means respecting the lesson, instead of reliving the mistake. Forgiveness gives your life energy back. It opens up the space in your mind that guilt was occupying, and in that space, confidence can grow again. When you hold on to guilt, it limits what you believe you deserve. You might start rejecting good things because you feel unworthy. But the truth is, life keeps offering you new chances no matter how many times you've fallen. The question is, will you take them? You can't step into your future with your hands full of the past. You have to put it down. Forgiveness isn't a one-time event, it's a daily practice. Some days you'll feel free, and other days the old guilt will try to return. That's normal. Healing isn't linear. When that happens, remind yourself again, I've forgiven myself. I've learned. I'm not that person anymore. Repetition rewires your belief. The more you affirm forgiveness, the deeper it takes root. Guilt loses its power when it's exposed to truth. Talk about it with someone you trust, if you can. Sometimes saying it out loud helps you realize it's not as big as it felt in your head. Guilt thrives in silence. It fades in honesty. You might be surprised to learn that others have felt the same way. You're not alone in this. Every person you admire has had to forgive themselves for something. A big part of forgiveness is self-compassion. Speak to yourself as you would to a loved one who made a mistake. You wouldn't call them worthless. You'd remind them they're human. You'd tell them that one moment doesn't define their entire character. You'd tell them they're still worthy of love. You deserve to treat yourself with the same gentleness. You deserve your own empathy. When you start practicing forgiveness, you'll feel lighter. The tension in your chest begins to ease. The negative self-talk loses its grip. You start to breathe easier, think clearer, and feel more present. That's what freedom feels like. That's what self-love feels like. You'll realize that forgiving yourself wasn't about the past. It was about your future. You can't fully show up in life while dragging your old pain with you. Every new opportunity, every relationship, every goal will feel heavy until you let go. Forgiveness isn't about denying your mistakes. It's about allowing yourself to live again. You can't change what happened, but you can choose how you carry it. You can carry it as a burden or as wisdom. Once you forgive yourself, you stop being afraid of mistakes. You start seeing them as part of growth. That's what confidence is. Trusting that you can recover from anything. When you know you can forgive yourself, you stop living in fear of failure. That makes you bold, creative, and alive again. There's something deeply peaceful about saying, I forgive myself, and truly meaning it. It's like closing a long chapter that no longer serves you. You stop looking back with regret and start looking forward with hope. That's when life starts to feel new again. The past cannot be redone, but it can be redefined. You can choose to see it as a source of strength instead of shame. Every difficult experience can become a tool for compassion. You'll understand others better, you'll judge less, and you'll love deeper. That's the gift of forgiveness. It makes you softer and stronger at the same time. No one ever becomes free through guilt. Freedom comes through acceptance, through kindness, through understanding. When you forgive yourself, you stop fighting reality and start living in it. You stop saying, I wish things were different, and start saying, I'm grateful I've grown. You are not the same person you were when you made those mistakes. You've grown, you've learned, you've changed. That means you've earned forgiveness. It's not something you have to wait for. No one else needs to give it to you. You can give it to yourself. Right now. Say it quietly. Say it sincerely. I forgive myself. Feel the relief that follows. Feel the calm that comes with acceptance. That's self-love in its purest form. Choosing to stop punishing yourself and start living again. You deserve peace. You deserve healing. You deserve to move forward without the weight of yesterday on your shoulders. So let go of guilt. Give yourself full forgiveness. Your life is waiting for you on the other side of that release.
Chapter 6. Take care of your body, mind, and emotional health. Your body, mind, and emotions are the foundation of everything you do. They are connected in ways most people never take time to understand. When one part of you suffers, the rest of you feels it too. That's why taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a responsibility. You can't grow, love, or give your best to anyone if you're running on empty. Self-care is not about being selfish, it's about staying strong enough to live fully. It's about treating yourself like someone who matters, because you do. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life. Every breath, every step, every heartbeat is proof that you're alive and capable. Yet so many people ignore their body until it breaks down. They run on stress, caffeine, and survival. They push through fatigue, skip meals, and tell themselves they'll rest later. But later never comes. You have to stop waiting for a health crisis to start valuing your body. The body you have today is not replaceable. It's your partner, not your enemy. The way you treat it determines how far you can go. Caring for your body means listening to its signals. When you feel tired, it's not weakness, it's communication. When you feel tense, it's not random, it's your body asking for release. Most people are disconnected from these signals because they've been taught to ignore them. You've probably been told to push through it, be tough, or don't be lazy. But ignoring your body's needs is not strength, it's self-neglect. Real strength is balance. It's knowing when to push and when to pause. Start simple. Eat food that gives you energy, not just pleasure. Move your body not to punish it, but to thank it. Sleep long enough for your mind to reset. Hydrate,
so your body can function properly. These aren't small acts, they are acts of self-respect. Every healthy choice you make sends a message to yourself: I'm worth taking care of. And the more you repeat that message through action, the deeper your self-worth becomes. When you care for your body, your mind follows. The mind works best when the body is supported. When you're exhausted or malnourished, your thinking becomes cloudy and your emotions unstable. But when your body feels strong, your mind becomes clear and confident. That's why self-care isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional too. You can't separate them because they feed each other. Taking care of your mind starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts. The way you think determines how you feel, and how you feel shapes how you act. If your thoughts are constantly critical or fearful, your mind becomes a stressful place to live. But if your thoughts are calm, curious, and encouraging, your mind becomes a safe space. The mind is your home. Decorate it with thoughts that bring peace, not chaos. You can't control every thought that appears, but you can control which ones you believe. When negative thoughts come, don't fight them. Observe them. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, you have the power to replace it. That's not pretending everything's fine. It's protecting your mental health. It's training your mind to stay focused on what you can control instead of drowning in what you can't. Quiet time is one of the best medicines for the mind. In a world full of noise, silence is rare, but it's essential. Spend time alone each day without distractions. No phone, no screen, no noise, just you. In that stillness, you'll start to notice what your mind has been trying to tell you. You'll see where your energy goes, where your worries live, and what needs attention. Stillness isn't laziness, it's maintenance. Reading, journaling, or meditating are simple ways to nourish your mind. Reading expands your perspective. Journaling helps you release what you can't say out loud. Meditation trains your focus. You don't need to spend hours on them. Just a few minutes a day can change how you feel. Mental health doesn't improve through wishful thinking, it improves through daily attention. Your emotions are the language of your inner world. They tell you what matters. When you feel angry, it might mean your boundaries have been crossed. When you feel sad, it might mean something important has been lost. When you feel anxious, it might mean your mind is trying to prepare for uncertainty. Emotions aren't your enemy, they're messengers. Ignoring them only makes them louder. Listening to them brings balance. Too many people suppress emotions because they think feeling deeply makes them weak. But holding everything inside only creates pressure that eventually explodes. Emotional health means learning to express, not repress. Talk about what you feel. Cry when you need to. Laugh often. Speak honestly. These are all ways to keep your emotions flowing instead of trapped. You can't heal from what you hide. When you're emotionally healthy, you become emotionally stable. That doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means you don't get stuck in it. You can experience anger without turning cruel. You can feel sadness without losing hope. You can feel fear without letting it stop you. Emotional health is not the absence of struggle. It's the ability to move through it with awareness. One of the strongest ways to care for your emotional well-being is through connection. Surround yourself with people who listen, not judge. People who remind you of your strength, not your flaws. Human connection heals in ways solitude can't. We're social beings. We need to be seen and understood. But choose your company wisely. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. Boundaries are another form of emotional self-care. You can't take care of your emotional health if you keep saying yes when you mean no. You don't owe anyone constant access to you. You have the right to rest, to say no, to protect your time. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They let the right things in and keep the wrong things out. Stress is inevitable, but suffering doesn't have to be. The way you respond to stress determines its effect on you. When life gets overwhelming, pause and breathe. The breath connects your body and mind instantly. It grounds you in the present moment, where your power actually exists. You can't control everything around you, but you can control your response. That control is what keeps you centered. Taking care of yourself is not about perfection, it's about consistency. You don't need a flawless routine. You just need to show up for yourself each day, even in small ways. Maybe that means choosing water over soda today, taking a 10-minute walk, or spending 5 minutes in gratitude before bed. Every small act adds up. Self-care is cumulative. The more you practice, the stronger you become. There's a simple truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't show up for others with love and energy if you're constantly running on fumes. People who give a lot often forget to give to themselves. They believe self-sacrifice is noble, but over time, it leads to resentment and burnout. Taking care of yourself allows you to give from abundance, not exhaustion. Mental and emotional balance also come from purpose. When you have a reason to wake up in the morning, your energy changes. Find something that gives your days meaning. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be your work, your family, your hobbies, or personal growth. Purpose feeds your mind with direction, and direction gives peace. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are not separate from emotional health. They are the base of it. A tired mind exaggerates problems. A hungry body struggles to think clearly. A sedentary life creates stagnation. When you take care of these basics, everything else becomes easier. Your mood lifts, your motivation rises, your patience grows. It's not magic, it's alignment. Emotional and mental strength also require forgiveness toward yourself and others. Anger, regret, and resentment drain energy. They take space that could be used for joy and creativity. Let them go, not for them, but for you. Holding on to pain doesn't punish others, it only poisons you. Release it and make space for peace. Don't ignore joy either. Joy is medicine. Too many adults forget how to feel it, because they're too focused on being productive. But joy isn't a distraction, it's nourishment. Laugh without reason. Play even if you're not a child. Dance even if no one's watching. Joy keeps your emotions balanced and your spirit light. Nature is another form of healing. The body feels calmer in natural light. The mind quiets in open spaces, and emotions settle in fresh air. Spend time outside as often as possible. Touch the earth, watch the sky. These moments remind you that life is bigger than your worries, and that peace is still possible. The mind, body, and emotions are not separate lanes. They're one system. When one part is off balance, the others suffer. When one part heals, the rest follow. That's why true self-care means treating yourself as a whole person. You can't fix your mental health while neglecting your body. You can't calm your emotions while ignoring your thoughts. Each part supports the other. Taking care of yourself also means listening to your limits. Rest is not laziness, it's recovery. The world glorifies constant motion, but growth happens in stillness. Muscles grow when they rest. Minds reset when they pause. Hearts heal when they breathe. You can't rush healing. You can only create the right conditions for it to happen. Pay attention to what drains you and what restores you. Not every activity that looks productive is good for you. Not every person who smiles at you brings peace. Energy management is part of self-care. Spend more time on what fills you and less time on what empties you. The balance will show in how you feel, think, and live. When you start caring for your body, mind, and emotions consistently, you begin to glow from within. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You attract peace instead of chaos. That's what self-love looks like in practice. Not fancy words, but daily actions that protect your well-being.
Self-care is not something you do once in a while when you're burnt out. It's a lifestyle. It's how you build a foundation of strength that no challenge can shake. Every moment you choose your health, you're reinforcing your confidence. Because nothing feels better than being in control of your own energy. Your body deserves movement, your mind deserves peace, and your emotions deserve kindness. Take care of them not because you have to, but because you get to. You've been given this one life, this one body, this one mind. Treat them like the gifts they are. When you nurture yourself on every level, you become your best self, strong, calm and grounded. You stop merely surviving and start truly living. And when you take care of yourself that way, you're not just improving your life, you're honoring it.
Chapter 7. Set goals that match your values and real dreams. Every person dreams of success, but few take time to define what success actually means to them. Most people chase goals that belong to someone else, goals society praises, family expects, or peers display. They climb ladders that lean against the wrong wall, and when they finally reach the top, they realize they're unfulfilled, confused, and tired. That's why setting goals that match your values and real dreams is one of the most important things you can ever do for yourself. Because a goal without alignment will drain you, but a goal built on truth will transform you. Your goals should reflect who you are, not who you think you're supposed to be. To do that, you first have to know your values. Values are not slogans. They are the invisible rules that guide your behavior when no one's watching. They're what make you feel proud or guilty, peaceful or restless. If you value honesty, lying even for convenience will eat at you. If you value freedom, staying stuck in something you hate will suffocate you. So before you plan your life, you must understand what really matters to you. Start by asking yourself some direct questions. What kind of life do I want to live every day? What kind of person do I want to become? What moments make me feel alive? The answers to these questions are clues to your values. Once you have clarity, your goals should grow from those answers, not from outside pressure. When your goals align with your values, you move with purpose. You stop chasing validation and start creating fulfillment. Progress feels lighter because it's coming from within, not forced from fear. You can work hard and still feel at peace because you're not fighting against your nature, you're honoring it. The reason many people struggle with motivation is not because they're lazy, it's because their goals don't inspire them. They're doing things that don't connect with what they truly care about. You can't stay consistent with something that doesn't mean anything to you. Real drive doesn't come from deadlines, it comes from desire. To set meaningful goals, think deeply about what success means for you personally. For some, it might mean building a business. For others, it's raising a healthy family, writing a book, serving others, or simply living peacefully. There's no wrong definition, only the one that feels true. The more honest you are, the clearer your direction becomes. Once you know what you value, you can start setting goals that match it. If you value health, set daily habits that support it. If you value growth, set learning goals that challenge your mind. If you value relationships, make connection a priority, not an afterthought. When your goals match your values, even small wins feel deeply satisfying. The next step is to make your goals specific. Clarity gives power. Don't just say, I want to be healthier. Say, I'll walk 30 minutes every morning. Don't just say, I want to learn more. Say, I'll read for 20 minutes a day. Clear goals give your mind direction, and direction builds momentum. But here's something most people forget. Your goals are not supposed to stay the same forever. As you grow, your values may evolve. What mattered deeply to you 5 years ago may not fit who you are now. That's not failure, that's growth. Revisit your goals often. Ask, does this still represent me? If it doesn't, adjust it. You're allowed to change. You're supposed to. Goals that match your values also protect your energy. When you say yes to everything, you spread yourself too thin. But when you know what matters, you can say no with confidence. Every no to the wrong thing is a yes to your real path. You stop feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself because you finally understand why it matters. You'll also notice that when your goals align with your inner truth, discipline becomes easier. You don't need to force yourself to stay consistent. You want to. The effort still requires work, but it feels purposeful. You stop running on willpower and start running on meaning. Comparison loses its grip when you follow your true path. You don't feel jealous of others because you're no longer trying to live their story. You can admire their success without losing pride in your own. That's what real confidence looks like. It's calm, not loud. It's knowing you're walking your path, even if it looks different from everyone else's. But setting goals is only half of the journey. The other half is taking steady action. A goal without daily steps is just a wish. Break your goals down into small, achievable actions that you can measure. Each time you complete one, you build trust with yourself. You prove that your word means something. And that trust becomes the root of self-respect. Sometimes people set goals based on fear of being left behind, fear of disappointing others, fear of failure. But fear-driven goals lead to burnout. Love-driven goals lead to growth. Choose goals that excite you, not ones that scare you into compliance. Fear might motivate you temporarily, but passion sustains you long-term. You must also learn to set goals that balance ambition with well-being. Ambition without balance destroys peace. Don't chase success so hard that you forget to live. Your goals should improve your quality of life, not consume it. If you're losing sleep, health, or relationships just to meet a target, you're chasing the wrong goal. Real success feels fulfilling, not exhausting. Take time to celebrate small wins. Many people wait until they reach the big milestone before feeling proud. But pride should come from progress, not perfection. Every time you move closer to your vision, even slightly, acknowledge it. That recognition reinforces motivation. It reminds your mind that effort matters. Sometimes life will interrupt your plans. Unexpected things happen: loss, change, uncertainty. In those moments, be flexible. Adjust your pace, but don't abandon your purpose. Flexibility doesn't mean failure, it means wisdom. You're not supposed to control every detail. You're supposed to keep moving forward with faith. It's also important to remember that your goals must feel personal. They shouldn't be built to impress others. External goals can't fill internal emptiness. You can achieve every milestone society celebrates and still feel lost if those goals weren't aligned with your truth. That's why alignment is everything. It turns achievement into fulfillment. Your values act like a compass. Whenever you're unsure what to do, go back to them. If a goal makes you anxious but not excited, it's probably not aligned. If it feels peaceful and meaningful, even if it's challenging, that's a good sign. Your inner peace is a guide. It always points you toward authenticity. When you pursue what aligns with your values, you experience a deep sense of integrity. Integrity means your thoughts, words, and actions all match. You no longer live a double life, one for the world and one for yourself. You move through your days with honesty, and that honesty gives you strength. There will be people who don't understand your goals. They might say you're dreaming too small or aiming too high. That's fine. They don't need to understand. They're not supposed. The only validation you need is from yourself. When your goals reflect who you are, no explanation is required. To build momentum, track your progress. Write your goals down, review them weekly. Adjust where necessary.
Clarity fades when you don't remind yourself of your direction. Seeing your goals written out keeps them alive in your mind. It's a small act that keeps your vision clear. Don't underestimate the power of patience. Big goals take time, and time tests belief. You'll have days when you doubt yourself, when progress feels slow. But remember, alignment is more important than speed. It's better to move slowly in the right direction than quickly in the wrong one. As you grow, you'll notice that aligned goals bring a quiet confidence. You no longer need to prove your worth through constant achievement. You find joy in the process itself. You feel proud not because of the outcome, but because you're living your truth daily. That's the real victory. Setting goals that match your values also improves your relationship. You start connecting with people who share your outlook instead of draining your energy. You surround yourself with people who respect your path instead of questioning it. And that community keeps you inspired when motivation. If you ever feel uncertain about your next step, go back to reflection. Ask yourself, does this align with who I want to be? If the answer is yes, take action. If it's no, let it go. Clarity comes from honesty, not overthinking. Your dreams are not random. They come from the deepest parts of you, the parts that know what will make you feel alive. Ignoring them only leads to regret. Following them, even slowly, leads to fulfillment. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you move closer to a life that feels right. Setting aligned goals doesn't just shape your achievements. It shapes your identity. You start seeing yourself as capable, disciplined, and genuine. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. That's what self-love looks like in action. At the end of your life, you won't measure your success by how much you achieved. You'll measure it by how real you felt, how peaceful you lived, and how many days you spent doing what truly mattered to you. So set goals that bring you closer to that feeling, not further from it. Your values are the roots. Your dreams are the branches. When both grow together, your life becomes whole. Trust what you value, honor what you dream. Set goals that bring them to life, and your journey will always feel meaningful, no matter where it leads.
Chapter 8. Surround yourself with people who lift you higher. The people you spend time with shape who you become. Every conversation, every shared moment, every interaction either feeds your strength or drains it. The truth is simple: you rise when you're around people who believe in you, and you fall when you surround yourself with those who constantly pull you down. Your environment plays a massive role in your growth, even more than talent or luck. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're in the wrong company, you'll start doubting yourself, questioning your dreams, and shrinking your spirit to fit into small places. That's why one of the greatest acts of self-love is choosing to surround yourself with people who lift you higher. You've probably heard that you become like the people you spend the most time with. It's true, their energy rubs off on you. Their words, their mindset, their habits, even their attitude toward life. If you spend time around people who constantly complain, you'll start finding more reasons to complain. But if you're around people who focus on solutions, progress, and growth, you'll naturally begin thinking the same way. Energy is contagious, and so is mindset. The company you keep silently teaches you what's normal. When you surround yourself with people who lift you higher, you start believing in yourself again. You feel seen, understood, and encouraged to keep going. These people remind you of your strengths when you forget them. They don't compete with you. They celebrate your progress. They don't laugh at your goals. They ask how they can support them. That kind of energy changes everything. But before you find those people, you need to become one of them. You have to live with the same standards you expect from others. You can't ask for positivity while spreading negativity. You can't expect support if you constantly criticize. The first step in attracting people who lift you higher is becoming that kind of person yourself, kind, genuine, curious, and encouraging. Like attracts like. When you raise your energy, you naturally attract people who operate on the same frequency. Look closely at your circle. Who makes you feel inspired after you talk to them? Who leaves you drained or insecure? Pay attention to those feelings, their information. Some people will challenge you in healthy ways, helping you grow. Others will criticize you out of their own insecurity. You need to know the difference. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Some people enjoy your company only when you're struggling, because it makes them feel stronger. Others will cheer for you even when you surpass them, because they genuinely want to see you win. Learn to tell them apart. The people who lift you higher are not perfect. They're real. They tell you the truth with kindness. They give advice without trying to control you. They listen without judgment. When you're around them, you feel safe to be yourself. You don't have to perform, pretend, or prove anything. Their presence reminds you that you're enough. One of the most beautiful things about uplifting people is that they challenge you to aim higher without making you feel small. They push you toward your potential, not because they need to fix you, but because they believe in your ability to grow. They see your possibilities even when you doubt them. That kind of faith is rare, and when you find it, protect it. Having people who lift you higher doesn't mean surrounding yourself only with those who agree with you. Real friends don't say yes to everything. They hold you accountable. They'll call you out when you're wrong, not to embarrass you, but to help you improve. They'll tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. Their honesty is a sign of respect. To build that kind of circle, you need to be intentional. Don't just let people drift into your life by chance. Choose who gets close to you. Time is energy, and you can't give it to everyone. Spend it with those who inspire, motivate, and challenge you to be your best. That's not arrogance, it's wisdom. Sometimes, the hardest part of surrounding yourself with uplifting people is letting go of those who don't. You'll have to step away from relationships that no longer align with your growth. That doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've outgrown them. You can still wish them well while choosing a different path. Growth requires space, and you can't expand in an environment that keeps you small. You might feel guilty for walking away from certain people, especially if you've known them for a long time. But time doesn't equal compatibility. You're allowed to outgrow people just like you outgrow old clothes. It's not disrespectful, it's natural. Some people were part of your story but not your future. When you begin to change your circle, you'll notice your life changing too. You'll feel more motivated. You'll start thinking bigger. You'll start believing that good things are possible for you. That's because the people around you are reflecting your potential back to you instead of your fears. They remind you of your strength when you forget it. They push you to take action when you hesitate. Uplifting people also help you see failure differently. They don't mock you when you fall. They help you rise again. They remind you that mistakes don't define you. They refine you. They help you learn instead of judge yourself. That kind of support builds confidence faster than any self-help book ever could. You deserve to be around people who make you feel capable, not inadequate. People who speak life into you, not doubt. People who see the good in you even when you're struggling to see it yourself. Life is too short to spend it surrounded by energy that constantly drains you. If you want to grow, find people who make growth exciting. Spend time with people who talk about goals, ideas, and lessons, instead of gossip and drama. Choose people who inspire you to think differently, to dream bigger, to be more disciplined. You'll notice that your mindset shifts just by being around them. You'll start to mirror their habits, their curiosity, their optimism, their discipline.
That's how influence works. But surrounding yourself with uplifting people doesn't mean avoiding those who need help or support. It means having balance. You can help others without letting them drain you. The difference is boundaries. You can be kind without being used. You can listen without absorbing negative. You can offer guidance without fixing others. One thing uplifting people have in common is that they make you feel calm. You don't have to impress them or perform for their approval. You can show up as your authentic self, messy, tired, imperfect, and still feel accepted. That acceptance gives you the courage to be real. And when you're real, you connect on a deeper level. You'll also notice that the right people won't compete with you. They'll want you to win. They understand that someone else's success doesn't take away from theirs. They know that when one person grows, everyone benefits. That's the energy you want in your circle, collaboration, not competition. If you ever find you're surrounded by people who constantly belittle your ideas, make you doubt your dreams or minimize your progress, it's time to reevaluate. Staying around that kind of energy doesn't prove loyalty, it prevents growth. You can't become your best self in an environment that doesn't believe you can. Start being deliberate with your time. Notice who makes you laugh more, who listens without judgment, who motivates you when you're tired, who celebrates your wins sincerely. These are the people worth investing in. They are the quiet anchors that keep you grounded and inspired, and when you find people like that, invest back in them. Support their dreams too. Celebrate their progress as much as your own. The best relationships are built on mutual elevation, each person lifting the other when needed. When you pour into others who pour into you, life becomes lighter and more meaningful. Building that kind of circle takes patience. You might feel lonely while making the transition. There will be a gap between leaving old relationships and finding new ones that match your energy. Don't rush to fill that space. Use it to reconnect with yourself. The more comfortable you become in your own company, the better people you'll attract. Because people who love themselves don't tolerate what drains them. They choose what nurtures them. Sometimes the most uplifting person in your life won't be someone you know personally. It might be a mentor you learn from online, a book that changes your thinking, or a podcast that fills your mind with wisdom. Don't underestimate the power of indirect influence. Even if you don't have positive people physically around you right now, you can still fill your mind with positive voices. Over time, those voices shape your mindset and attract the right people into your real life. As you grow, your standards for relationships will rise too. You'll start valuing depth over popularity, quality over quantity. You'll realize that one genuine friend who believes in you is worth more than 100 who don't. It's not about having a big circle, it's about having a strong one. You'll also learn that not every uplifting person will be loud or overly cheerful. Some will be calm and steady, showing love through consistency rather than words. Some will challenge you with questions that make you think deeply. Others will motivate you simply by example, by living with integrity, discipline, and kindness. Pay attention to these quiet teachers. Their influence runs deep. True connection is built on authenticity. When you find people who lift you higher, you'll notice that you feel more like yourself around them. You don't need to hide your dreams or shrink your excitement. They create space for your light to shine. And when you shine, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive, growth-minded people is not about building a perfect circle. It's about creating an environment where everyone can rise together. It's about finding people who see the best in you and reminding yourself to be that person for others. In time, you'll realize that your environment shapes your destiny. You'll start protecting your energy as carefully as you protect your time. You'll understand that love, encouragement, and inspiration are not luxuries, they're necessity. You'll know that you don't have to struggle alone, because growth is easier when you have the right people beside you. You are not meant to do life alone. You are meant to connect, to share, to grow together. The people who lift you higher will remind you of your strength when you forget it. They'll help you believe in a version of yourself you haven't fully met yet. And when you find them, you'll finally understand what it feels like to be supported, seen, and truly alive.
Chapter 9. Celebrate every progress and keep moving forward daily. Progress doesn't always come with big moments or applause. Most of the time it's quiet. It's you showing up when no one's watching, taking one small step when it would have been easier to do nothing. And yet, most people overlook that. They wait for milestones to feel proud, never realizing that progress happens in the small, unseen moments. But when you learn to celebrate every bit of progress, every little win, every bit of effort, you start to build unstoppable momentum. You stop needing validation because you become your own source of encouragement. Every single day, you do something that deserves acknowledgement. Maybe you made a tough decision, maybe you stayed calm when you could have lost your temper, or maybe you simply got out of bed on a hard day. Those things count. Progress isn't just about achievement, it's about movement. The fact that you're moving forward even slowly means you're already winning. The people who create real change aren't the ones who take massive leaps once in a while. They're the ones who keep walking, step by step, no matter how far the destination seems. You need to understand that progress is emotional fuel. When you celebrate it, you create a positive feedback loop in your brain. You begin associating effort with reward, which keeps you motivated. When you ignore progress, you starve your own motivation. You tell yourself nothing's good enough, and eventually your mind stops trying. Celebration isn't self-indulgence, it's strategy. It keeps your spirit alive while you're growing. You don't need a trophy or a crowd to celebrate. It can be as simple as saying, "I did that today." Smile at yourself, write it down, acknowledge that you tried. Acknowledgement strengthens your confidence. The more you recognize what's working, the more your brain seeks ways to do it again. That's how consistency is built. Not through pressure, but through positive reinforcement. Most people sabotage their progress by comparing. They look at someone else's journey and think, "I'm so far behind." But comparison kills celebration. You can't appreciate your pace while staring at someone else's path. Everyone starts from a different place. What's easy for one person might have taken another years of effort to reach. Your only real competition is who you were yesterday. Measure yourself against your own growth. Ask, am I doing better than I used to? If the answer is yes, celebrate it. When you start appreciating small progress, something amazing happens. You stop quitting so easily. You begin to see that improvement is always happening, even when results aren't visible yet. You start trusting the process. You realize that every workout, every page written, every dollar saved, every hard conversation, all of it counts. The day you start seeing value in small progress is the day you stop waiting for perfection to feel proud. Progress is not a straight line. There will be days you feel like you're moving backward. That's normal. Growth has cycles. Just like nature, some days are for pushing, others are for pausing. But as long as you don't give up, you're still on track. Even when you stumble, you're learning something that helps you move forward later. Progress sometimes looks like recovery, rest, or reflection. That's not failure, it's part of the rhythm of growth. Take a moment to think about how far you've already come. The things that once scared you might now feel easy. The pain you thought you'd never move past has made you stronger. You've survived things that once broke your spirit. You've grown even when you didn't realize it. That's progress too. It's not loud, but it's powerful. Make it a daily practice to notice what you've done well. Before bed, ask yourself, what did I handle better today? It could be a tiny thing. You drank water instead of soda. You spoke up in a meeting. You said no to something that didn't serve you. Write it down. Over time, you'll have a list of wins that remind you of your resilience. you'll start realizing that you've been improving all along. Celebrating progress doesn't mean ignoring what still needs work. It means acknowledging that growth takes time. It's about being proud of the process, not just the results. You can hold gratitude for how far you've come while still reaching for more. That balance keeps you grounded and motivated at the same time. The most successful people aren't those who never doubt themselves, they're the ones who keep going despite doubt. They understand that each step builds the foundation for the next. They celebrate progress because they know it's proof that the vision is working. That simple act of appreciation fuels perseverance. Small daily wins might not seem impressive at first, but over time they build momentum. When you see progress as a chain, you realize that breaking one link can slow you down, but keeping the chain going strengthens everything. Do one thing every day that moves you closer to your goal. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, just one action. Over weeks and months, those actions compound into massive change. Momentum doesn't come from speed, it comes from consistency. Even slow movement is progress, when you're going in the right direction. Think of your goals like a staircase. Each step might not feel like much, but together they take you to the top. Don't look at how far you still have to go. Look at how many steps you've already climbed. You don't need to wait until life feels perfect to appreciate it. Gratitude fuels growth. When you notice the good in your journey, your mind becomes more creative, your heart becomes lighter, and your energy rises. Neglecting gratitude only makes progress feel like a burden. Appreciation transforms effort into joy. You also need to stop criticizing yourself for not being there yet. There is no final destination, there's only progress. Every day you improve, learn, and refine. You can have goals, but you should never believe happiness only exists once you reach them. Joy is found in the daily movement, not just the finish line. Sometimes, celebrating progress means slowing down long enough to recognize it. Most people are in such a rush to get to the next thing that they skip the part where they appreciate how far they've come. If you keep chasing without celebrating, you'll burn out. Success without gratitude feels empty. Pause and give yourself credit. It's fuel, not distraction. Progress requires self-awareness. You need to see what's working and what's not. When you reflect, you gather wisdom that helps you adjust. When you celebrate, you strengthen belief. Together, reflection and celebration create sustainable growth. You can't improve what you never notice, and you can't stay motivated by only noticing what's wrong. Some days the only progress you'll make is not giving up. That's enough. On days when you're tired, confused, or discouraged, survival itself is victory. You showed up. You kept trying. That's something to be proud of. Self-love means recognizing that your worth isn't measured by productivity. It's measured by effort and intention. Celebrate progress, even when no one else notices it. Not every victory will be public. Some of the most important ones happen quietly. The decision to try again, the moment you stay patient, the time you forgive instead of react. These private wins shape your character more than any visible achievement. When you celebrate progress daily, you train your mind to focus on possibility instead of lack. You stop waiting for happiness to arrive in the future. You realize it's already available in the present moment, right in the effort you're giving today. You begin to see that life isn't about huge leaps. It's about showing up with intention again and again. Keeping momentum requires self-discipline, but it also requires kindness. Push yourself to grow, but don't punish yourself for being human. Progress is about direction, not perfection. Every step forward, no matter how small, counts. The people who reach their goals aren't necessarily the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who keep moving forward, even when motivation fades. If you want to maintain progress, build small rituals that remind you of your purpose. Start your day with gratitude, end it with reflection. Set one clear goal for tomorrow.
These daily habits keep your focus sharp. They remind you that you don't need to do everything at once. You just need to keep doing something that moves you closer. Sometimes, progress feels invisible. You might feel stuck, even when you're moving, but invisible progress is still progress. Growth often happens below the surface before results appear. Trust that the work you're doing now is preparing you for what's coming next. Every bit of effort counts, even the ones no one sees. There will be moments when you lose momentum. Don't be ashamed of it. Take a break, breathe, reset, and start again. The only true failure is quitting completely. As long as you're still willing to take the next step, you're winning. Progress is not erased by pauses, it's reignited by them. The way you talk to yourself about progress matters too. Speak words that encourage continuation. Instead of saying "I'm not there yet," say "I'm getting closer every day." That simple shift changes how your brain processes effort. It stops feeling like struggle and starts feeling like growth. You can't always control how fast things happen, but you can control your persistence. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep giving your best effort. The path to confidence and fulfillment isn't built in one grand moment. It's built in 1,000 small ones. Each one adds strength to your foundation, and when you look back months or years later, you'll see that all those small celebrations, all those daily steps, added up to something incredible. You'll realize that every day you decided to move forward, even when it was hard, shaped the person you became. So keep appreciating the small wins. Keep believing that effort matters. Because it does. Progress is not about where you end up. It's about who you become along the way. Celebrate every bit of it. You're already further than you think, and the best part is, you're still going.
Chapter 10. Believe in your worth and live with full confidence. Confidence doesn't begin when everything in your life is perfect. It begins when you finally decide to believe that you are enough exactly as you are. So many people spend their lives waiting for proof of their worth, waiting to be loved, promoted, praised, or accepted before they allow themselves to feel valuable. But confidence doesn't come from approval. It comes from self-belief. You build confidence the moment you stop asking the world for permission to feel worthy and start giving that permission to yourself. Believing in your worth is not arrogance. It's self-respect. It's knowing that your presence matters, your voice matters, and your dreams matter. You are not defined by how others see you. You are defined by how you see yourself. When you believe you have value, you walk, speak, and make choices differently. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop begging for validation. You start showing up as the real you, steady, calm, and unapologetic. Most people are taught from a young age to downplay their worth. They're told not to brag, not to stand out, not to be too confident. Over time, that message turns into self-doubt. You begin to believe that confidence is something you earn, not something you're allowed to feel. But here's the truth. You don't need to earn your worth. You already have it. You were born with it. The fact that you exist is proof enough. Confidence simply means remembering that truth after the world tries to make you forget it. Every person you admire, the ones who speak with power, move with purpose, and act without fear, had to learn this too. They weren't born believing in themselves. They built that belief by practicing it daily. Confidence grows through action. The more you act on your own behalf, the more evidence your mind collects that you are capable. Each time you do something brave, your self-belief gets stronger. That's how inner worth turns into outer confidence. You can't live with confidence while doubting your value. You can fake it for a while, but deep down you'll always hesitate. That's why real confidence starts with self-acceptance. Accept the parts of yourself you've been taught to hide, the quirks, the scars, the imperfections. They don't make you less valuable. They make you human. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about being comfortable with imperfection. When you accept yourself fully, no criticism can shake you because you're no longer seeking to prove anything. Your worth is not measured by your achievements, your looks, or your income. Those things can change. Your worth doesn't. It's a constant truth, not a condition. When you understand that, you stop tying your identity to external success. You can fail and still feel valuable. You can lose something important and still know your worth. You can be a work in progress and still hold your head high. That's the kind of confidence that can't be taken away. Living with full confidence means trusting yourself. It's the quiet certainty that you can handle whatever comes next. You don't need to know the outcome to take the first step. You trust your ability to figure it out as you go. You trust your resilience. You trust your instincts. That kind of self-trust makes you unstoppable because you're no longer paralyzed by fear of the unknown. Confidence also means speaking up for yourself. Many people stay silent because they fear judgment or rejection. But when you believe in your worth, you no longer tolerate being treated less than you deserve. You communicate clearly. You set boundaries. You don't let people decide your value based on their comfort. You know that protecting your peace is not selfish. It's necessary. There will always be moments when doubt tries to creep in. Even the most confident people have insecurity. The difference is that they don't let those doubts control them. When a negative thought arises, I'm not good enough, I'll fail, they're better than me, they don't take it as truth. They question it. They replace it with something stronger. Confidence doesn't mean you never hear the voice of doubt. It means you stop believing it. The way you talk to yourself is a powerful tool. Every time you criticize yourself, you weaken your belief in your worth. Every time you encourage yourself, you strengthen it. Your self-talk shapes your self-image. Speak to yourself with the same kindness you'd offer someone you love. You don't motivate growth by tearing yourself down. You motivate it by recognizing your potential. You also need to stop apologizing for existing. So many people shrink their energy to make others comfortable. They apologize for their opinions, their appearance, their ambition, even their joy. You were not born to hide. You were born to live fully. Confidence is not about being louder than others. It's about standing firmly in your truth. When you stop apologizing for who you are, you create space for others to do the same. The environment you're in can either support or damage your confidence. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your value, not those who make you question it. Spend time with people who encourage you to grow, not those who feed your insecurities. When you're around positive, grounded energy, your belief in yourself strengthens naturally. You must also understand that confidence isn't built in comfort zones. It grows through challenges. Every time you step outside what's familiar, you're building proof that you can handle discomfort. Each challenge you face and overcome reinforces your worth. The more you do it, the more unshakable your confidence becomes. Confidence is earned through courage, not perfection. A huge part of believing in your worth is releasing comparison. Comparison is poison to self-belief. It tricks you into thinking that someone else's light dims your own, but no one else has your exact path, your experiences, or your potential. The only person you need to be better than is the version of yourself from yesterday. Focus on your journey. Let others inspire you, not intimidate you. Sometimes confidence simply means showing up when you don't feel ready. Waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect version of yourself keeps you stuck. You become confident by doing, not by waiting. Every time you act despite fear, you're teaching your mind that you're capable. Confidence grows through experience, not imagination. Living with full confidence also means allowing yourself to receive. Many people reject compliments, help, or opportunities because they secretly feel unworthy. But worthiness is not something you earn through suffering.
It's something you accept as truth. Start saying thank you instead of deflecting praise. Accept help when you need it. Receive kindness without guilt. When you open yourself to receiving, you affirm that you are deserving. Confidence isn't loud or showy. It's quiet, steady, and consistent. It's not about proving anything. It's about knowing who you are. Some of the most confident people don't speak much. They carry an energy of certainty. They don't need attention to feel valuable, because they already know their value. That's the kind of confidence you want. The kind that doesn't depend on external noise. You'll know you've started believing in your worth when you stop settling. You'll no longer accept situations, relationships, or opportunities that make you feel small. You'll stop chasing people who treat you like an option. You'll start prioritizing your peace over approval. Self-worth changes your standards, and your standards shape your life. Confidence also means embracing failure as part of the process. You won't always get it right. You'll make mistakes, fall short, and get rejected. But those moments don't define you. They're lessons, not verdicts. People who believe in their worth see failure as feedback. They learn, adjust, and move on. They know their value doesn't decrease because of a temporary set. The more you practice believing in yourself, the more natural it becomes. At first, it feels strange to say I am enough when you've spent years thinking otherwise. But belief is built through repetition. Every time you affirm your worth, your mind begins to accept it as reality. Every time you act with confidence, your body starts to believe it too. Confidence is built through consistent reinforcement, not one-time inspiration. It's important to remember that confidence doesn't mean never feeling afraid. Fear will always exist. It's part of being human. But when you know your worth, fear loses control. You can feel it and still move forward. You can walk into uncertainty, knowing that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. That's real power. The ability to move even when you're scared. Believing in your worth also transforms how you treat others. When you know your own value, you don't need to compete or tear anyone down. You start seeing people as allies, not threats. You become more generous, more kind, more secure. You stop needing to prove yourself because you already know you belong. Confidence is freedom. It's the freedom to express yourself without fear, the freedom to pursue what excites you, the freedom to fail, learn, and try again without shame. It's the foundation of a fulfilled life. Without confidence, even great opportunities can feel impossible. With it, even small steps become powerful. So how do you strengthen this belief every day? Start by catching every negative thought about yourself and replacing it with truth. When you think I'm not good enough, remind yourself, I'm improving every day. When you think I can't do this, say, I'm learning how. These small shifts retrain your mind to focus on growth instead of doubt. Then take action that supports that belief. Confidence isn't built in your head. It's built through what you do. Keep promises to yourself. Show up when you say you will. Follow through on your word. Every time you honor your commitments, you reinforce trust within yourself. That trust becomes confidence. Over time, you'll start noticing how life changes when you carry yourself differently. Opportunities that once felt out of reach begin to appear. People treat you according to the energy you give off. And when you radiate self-assurance, they respond to it. Confidence doesn't just change how you feel. It changes how the world responds to you. You have one life, and it's too precious to spend doubting your worth. You were born with purpose, with gifts, with potential that no one else can duplicate. Confidence isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming fully yourself. You don't need to be perfect to deserve love or respect. You already deserve those things. All that's left is to believe it. So stand tall, speak clearly, make decisions that reflect your value. Walk into every room like you belong there, because you do. When you live from a place of self-worth, life begins to open up. You stop waiting for confidence to arrive. You create it every day, through how you treat yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you believe in yourself. No one else can give you that belief. It's something you have to build, moment by moment. But once you do, it becomes unbreakable, because when you believe in your worth and live with full confidence, you don't just survive, you thrive. You stop existing by default and start living by design. You stop hoping for validation and start creating your own certainty. And from that place, there's nothing you can't do.